Do you know what it is like to live in a world that is not made for you? Wait, let me rephrase that. Do you know what it is like to live in a left handed world? Well, I do. When I was 14 years old, I went to take the ACT. It's a very hard test that prepares you to get into college. I was very nervous. I had worked so hard to prepare. When entering the testing room, I noticed that every single desk was made for a right-handed person. It was the little side ones that just come around on one side, and they were all to the right side. I was so frustrated. I felt so out of place, and it was such an important day for me. This test meant so much to me, and I had to spend 4 hours taking this test, and I felt like it wasn't even set up properly for me to take, and I thought that that was unfair. Well, as I have said, I am left-handed, and this is one example of the many examples that I had to deal with and many other children have to deal with throughout their entire lives, and something needs to be done to change this. Left-handed children constantly have to adapt to a way of using supplies and using many other tools to become adapted to a right-handed world. They are always feeling out of place and struggle because left-handed people's brains work differently, and so it's so much harder when they have to deal with the right-handed world. Left-handed children also should be celebrating this great difference. They shouldn't be ashamed. They shouldn't try to hide it. They shouldn't try to always just do things with a right-handed way. They should be excited and embrace the fact that they are a left-handed child. There are so many supplies in this world that we have to deal with that are mostly made for right-handed children. Some examples are binders, notebooks, pencils, scissors. The list can go on to sporting equipment, computers, and more. I look forward to the day when I do not have to write a paper and have my hand smudge all of the letters because the ink hasn't dried in time for me to write across. I also look forward to the day when I don't have to take my papers out of a binder because the rings get in the way when I'm trying to write because I'm left-handed. Those would be marvelous days, and I can't wait. Us lefties also tend to have a bad handwriting. We're so used to learning the right-handed way that it's hard for us to adapt. We just try to do it the way that everyone else says is the right way, when they should develop a way that is easier for the left-handed child. We also, reading is backwards to us. Our brains just work differently, but I'll talk about that later. It seems that there were many times that I was ashamed to have to use my left hand and to use something different than the other kids. I never liked shining light on the fact that I was a left-handed person. I felt like a handicap. I felt like people had to go out of their way just to do things for me. I just didn't like it. Because of this, I kept quiet. Most of the times I just adapted and just just did my whole life right-handed. Because of this, many left-handed kids become ambidextrous. I remember there's many times that I was forced to use my right hand because that's the only way that I was able to do certain tasks. But then, because of that, I became more comfortable with my right hand and was able to use both. Being left-handed needs to be something we celebrate. All these parents that force their kids to write with their right hand in the 70s and the 80s should be kicking themselves. It turns out that left-handed kids might have an advantage in many areas. These areas include piloting, multitasking, driving, etc. It is also proven that left-handers have an advantage in sports, gaming, and other activities that cause players to face large volumes of stimuli being thrown at them spontaneously. In a study, many researchers got left-handed and right-handed students together. They had a dot appear on the screen, and as soon as the dot appeared on the screen, everyone was supposed to push a button. The left-handed kids seemed to be way faster in the reaction time than the right-handed kids. Left-handed kids are very smart, and because they have to adapt in many situations and think outside the box, it makes them broaden their minds and be able to think better. Left-handed kids used to be spat upon, locked up, and forced to be left-handed. And when forced to be forced to be right-handed, and when forced to be something you're not, it causes much problems. In this case, it caused many left-handed kids to stutter, to have issues with feeling inadequate. They just never had the confidence that they needed to be who they wanted to be. And there was just a great fear. And this was something that was prohibited to be left-handed, so everyone was forced to be right. And that is just not right. We need to make sure that these kids are celebrating that they are left-handed and celebrating that difference. Heavenly Father created us all to be different. If we were all the same, then life would be so boring. Life would be so easy for all of us. Everything would be built just the way that we wanted it, perfect. So we need to celebrate these differences and help create a better world that fits the life of these left-handed kids. I look forward to the day when I walk into a classroom and I feel at home. I feel like that classroom was built for me. What a remarkable day that will be. So I'm asking you guys, please make sure that we do everything in our power to make life more comfortable for these left-handed kids so that they feel more like they are at home in the classroom. Thank you.